Good evening, everybody. We will go ahead and get our, I'll call the regular board meeting to order. First, may I have the reading of the meeting notice, please?
The Board of Directors of the School District of the City of Erie, PA will meet in regular session on Wednesday, November 13, 2024, in the auditorium at East Middle School, 1001 Atkins Street, at 6:00 p.m. by request of the President, Dr. Jay Brenneman.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Roll call, please.
Mr. Harkins?
Here.
Mr. Nichols? Here. Mr. Sharif?
Here.
Ms. Amatangelo?
Here.
Ms. Cooley?
Here.
Ms. Devlin?
Here.
Ms. Gillespie?
Here.
Ms. Graff?
Here.
Dr. Brenneman.
Here. Next, we have our Pledge of Allegiance led by King Seaman, 6th grade student from Eagles Nest, introduced by Ms. Angela Vincent, acting dean, followed by a moment of silence for Jane Hoffensteiner, retired teacher assistant who passed away on October 20th, 2024, Alice Crotty, retired teacher and grandmother of our solicitor Timothy Wachter, who passed away on October 30th, and Helen Ackerman, a former teacher who passed away on November 1st. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then afterwards we'll have a moment of silence, and then King, we have something to give you once you're done leading us. Please rise.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to introduce this wonderful young man to you all today. Mr. King Seaman is one of our 6th grade scholars. He is 11 years old and the proud son of Mr. James Seaman. At school, Mr. Seaman enjoys making new friends and participating in the robotics program. He loves playing with his siblings, Gemini, Seaman, and Zion Torres, playing with Legos and spending time with family. His favorite subjects are science and history. Mr. Seaman's future goals are to attend Collegiate Academy and go to college to be an architect so that he can build houses. All of us at Eagles Nest love Mr. Seaman. He always has a kind word to say, and you will always be met with a big smile and a positive attitude. Mr. Seaman will now recite the Pledge of Allegiance and the Eagles Nest Creed.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the regions for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am a scholar. I am instilled with dynamic purpose. I am instilled with exceptional value. I am instilled with extraordinary genius. Responsibility is my foundation, courage is my partner, and faith is my breath of life. I can because destiny commands I can. I must because positivity and creativity dictates my thinking. I shall because it is my unparalleled destiny to repair, promote, and produce. I will because excellence is my footsteps, justice is my cadence, peace is my rhythm, and strength is my rhyme. I am a scholar.
Great job, young man.
Great job.
Very well done.
I would like to announce that the board met in executive session on Wednesday, November 6th in Conference Room 1 at the Administrative Building, 148 West 21st Street, from 7:49 p.m. to 8:29 p.m. regarding personnel and confidential student matters, and on Thursday, November 7th, 2024 in Conference Room 1 at the Administrative Building from 1:43 p.m. to 1:48 p.m. regarding personnel matters. Next, we have the report of the secretary. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the October 2nd and 9th as attached to our agenda? Moved by Mr. Sharif. Seconded by Ms. Amatangelo. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Mr. Sharif?
Yes.
Ms. Amatangelo?
Yes.
Ms. Cooley?
Yes.
Ms. Devlin?
Yes.
Ms. Gillespie?
Yes.
Ms. Graff?
Yes.
Dr. Brenneman?
Yes. Next on our agenda is the report of the superintendent, Mr. Polito.
Thank you, Dr. Brenneman. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I want to remind everyone that the parent-teacher conferences are coming up on Monday, November 25th, and Tuesday, November 26th. Conferences will be held in person on the 25th and virtually on the 26th. Please look for information from your child's school and make a plan to attend. If you'd like to attend but need transportation, please email our transportation department at transportation@eriesd.org. Remember, both November 25th and 26th are non-attendance days for students. Secondly, a couple notes for our high school students. First, for seniors. High school seniors and their families can learn about the financial aid process for post-graduation education and receive help from filling out the FAFSA form during 2 upcoming workshops. The first is a virtual workshop on November 18th at 6 p.m., offered by the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency. Information about how to register is available on our website. An in-person workshop will also be held on November 21st at Erie High School from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Students from all EPS high schools are welcome to attend. Visit our district website for more information, including how to prepare and what documents you'll need. Also, for high school students, Winter Keystone testing will be administered December 4th through December 18th. Important information, including a test schedule and answers to frequently asked questions, are available on our website as well. Finally, this is the last time we'll be gathered before the Thanksgiving break. On Monday, we celebrated our veterans, including the dedicated Erie's Public Schools employees who now serve in our classroom and our school buildings. Throughout November, we also celebrated National American Indian and Alaskan Native Heritage Month. It's a fitting time to give thanks, and we have much to be thankful for. On behalf of all of us here at Erie's Public Schools, including our administrators, teachers, and staff, thank you for your ongoing trust and support. And now we have this month's student spotlight, which is Delasia Cooley, and I believe that she is going to be introduced by Dean Vincent, who I do not see out in the audience. Well, we may not have a student spotlight this month. We'll pick that up again next month. And next, I'd like to ask Marcus Atkinson to come up, and he's going to do a presentation for us on 100 Black Men of Erie.
Good evening, everyone. If I sound a little hoarse, it's because I'm a little under the weather this month. From my understanding, everyone received the handout that I left for the school board members. Very briefly, I am the founding president of the Erie chapter of the 100 Black Men of Erie. It is a division of 100 Black Men of America. If you don't know about the organization, it was started in 1963 by Jackie Robinson, David Dinkins, and a host of others. It is based out of Atlanta, and the goal is to mentor young people from the inner cities, young Black men in particular. For the partnerships across the country, the most valued partnership of all 100 chapters is that of their local school districts. We are very proud to partner with the school district here, and we embarked on having a mentoring session within 3 different middle schools this past year. The way we do our mentoring sessions within the school is not limited to just boys or Black boys. Our mentoring sessions in the schools are open to all students. It doesn't matter their race, their ethnicity, their gender. They are all welcome. When we drill down on Black boys specifically, it's when we do our one-on-one mentoring beyond the school hours. And so with that in mind, we had an opportunity to mentor several groups of kids, several cohorts this past school year. Right here at East, there were 3 cohorts. There were 2 at Wilson, and we barely got 1 off the ground at Strong Vincent. If you look at the numbers, we had a goal of utilizing this time to speak life into the kids. One of the members of our organization is Matt Harris. He's the co-founder of this chapter. And so we utilized tenets from his 12 character traits from All About Character, Inc. And so there was some bonding and some mentoring going on in these sessions, and there were also different parts of it where we would utilize these tenets and teach them about life skills and decision-making and things along those lines. You can see the numbers of some of the outcomes that we had loosely from this past year. We were happy with the outcomes, but at the same time, we want to be able to drill down on it more next year, this year. We learned a lot last year, and we learned of our opportunities, and we also learned in some of the areas that we had to get strengthened. But we certainly look forward to this 2-year agreement so that we can build upon those things that we learned last year and continue on to develop young men and women. As you see, to culminate all of our activity, we ended up taking a group of young people to Atlanta for our national convention. We included photos and just a synopsis of some of those photos from that national convention. Some of the moments that we were proud of, in particular, the meeting with Andrew Young, who was one of our oldest and most esteemed members nationally. The students got a chance to meet him. Vice President Kamala Harris was interviewed at our luncheon during one of those days, and the students got a chance to meet her. She was interviewed by one of our 100 national brothers as well, Steve Harvey. Kids got a chance to see him. The biggest thing was they attended workshops with students from 37 different states from chapters all over the country. So they got a chance to see their counterparts from everywhere from Long Beach to Dallas to New Orleans. And they really enjoyed that. And then there's the youth takeover, where the young people are completely in charge of the morning session, and that was entertaining for the kids as well. And they got a chance to just meet a lot of different people, hear different things that are going on in other chapters, and have other adults speak life into them as we try to do here. The motto for 100 Black Men of America is what they see is what they'll be. It is easy to say as a young black boy or as a young child, I'd like to be a doctor. It helps if they can see themselves in that position in their local area. And within the 100, we recognize that for many of these kids, they need to see us in our own respective disciplines so that they can envision themselves in that role. And I think that was the most valuable takeaway from Atlanta, is that they met a plethora of doctors, lawyers, attorneys, business people of all types, all there dedicated to the purpose of making their lives better. And so this is our second year doing this year, and we look forward to just continually building on the program with this partnership with the Erie School District. Any questions? All right. I will slowly begin backing away from the microphone this time.
Thank you, Mr. Atkinson. Next up, we have Ms. Karen Ryan is here to do a presentation on our STEM programming.
Good evening, everyone. At your seat, you have 2 different infographics for K-8 STEM and also our high school STEM programming. November 8th is National STEM Day, which is why we're updating everyone on what we have available for STEM education in Erie's public schools. I'd like to thank all of the administrators and community school directors that shared their pictures with us. It really helps to be able to provide the pictures with what's going on, and also Dr. Rick Schneider for putting together the infographics. So at the K-8 level, I'll start K-5. Our K-5 has a variety of different things going on in the schools. 2 of our schools right now currently offer STEM as an elective in the schools at Pfeiffer Burley and also at Joanna Connell School. Our middle schools all have a STEM elective going on that students can participate once for a quarter of the school year. As you can see on the infographic, there's a variety of different things that happen within our schools during the day. After-school programming, during our enrichment time for after-school programming, and also field trips. So we have students participating in activities through Penn State, Barron. Our EPS kids are coding, and there's some different examples of the coding exercises that they do. We are blessed and fortunate to have a garden at every one of our elementary, middles, and high schools, and so they're participating in gardening clubs. There's a variety of STEM field trips, anywhere from Asbury Woods to the zoo, to the Maritime Museum, Tom Ridge Center, to WabTech, just so many different opportunities. WabTech is one of our community partners, and they do a lot of different school activities at Edison Elementary and also some of the middle schools. And the Anchor program, which runs during our school year, offers a variety of different enrichment opportunities that also go alongside of the tutoring in mathematics and English language arts. So we're really working on bolstering up the STEM activities, especially at the elementary schools where it's a little uneven right now because we do have 2 schools with electives. Dr. Rick Schneider is going to come up and talk to you about high school, and then we have really a special group, the robotics coach and team from Collegiate Academy, to tell you about what they're doing.
Good evening. So at the high school level, there are opportunities abounding in both of our high schools for students to participate in STEM. I think first and foremost, it's important for us to recognize that most of the career and technical education programs are STEM-related programs. Students are learning a variety of different skills within those CTE programs that translate into the world of work, STEM-related work, and then also into potential college majors related to the STEM fields as well. As you can see, we offer at both schools a number of different high school STEM-related courses. They're all listed at the bottom of the infographic that was provided to you. Within those courses, students can work their way into the fields of biology, ecology, engineering, physics, chemistry, the various overlapping fields that go between all the major sciences, as well as computer science and technology. So they have a plethora of pathways to kind of build a future for themselves in STEM-related fields. In addition, there are a bunch of high school after-school programs that are offered at both high schools, medically related in areas of interest for students both at Erie High School and at Collegiate Academy. There are also varying levels of robotics programs, one of which we're going to highlight for you this evening. We're very excited to kind of continue to show that program off. It's been a part of Erie's public schools for a very, very long time. The students do phenomenal work in that program, and it's something we're very proud of. Then we also have a number of different programs with local colleges and universities, some of which are still growing, and potentially new partnerships are forming even as we speak with some of the local universities, and being able to provide opportunities for our students at the high school level to go out into the wide world of STEM. So with that being said, I'd like to kind of, hi, yes, go ahead.
I have a question. For our many viewers and community members, can you please just describe STEM?
Yeah, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Sometimes they also add the A for STEAM in that, which would be related to the arts. It's important to kind of think about it in that way. I will say that a number of years ago, we were working on programming at the high school level with Lord Manufacturing, GE at the time, Gannon University, and Penn State Behrend, and their engineering programs. And one of the things that we were advised at that point in time was that there are engineering students that come from all over the world that can do the math. And what's really important is that they be able to communicate well with the guys on the shop floor, that they can turn a wrench and use the tools, and that they can build and manufacture things on their own. And also that they can make products, as Steve Jobs would say, that people want to buy. And so all of those components are actually really important, and they're built into a number of the different opportunities that students have within Erie's public schools, and that's a big part of why there are a number of different related skills that can really help to allow students to go out into many wide fields of work when they graduate.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just had a question, because I know it was mentioned that currently we only have it at the Connell at Pfeiffer. Are we eventually have it at the other elementary schools as well? Because I know it says it's offered at all elementary after school programs. Sometimes not all students stay after school.
Yeah, so there are STEM-related programs at all of our schools, and so they differ a little bit from school to school to school, depending on the community schools relationships and some of the availability of staffing and interests at those different buildings. But there are STEM opportunities in every school in our district, K through 12.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions, I'm going to invite our our CIA 291 robotics coach, Mr. James Fleming, to come on up to the microphone. He's a retired teacher, and we're super happy to have him continuing to work with our kids, and I'm sure they enjoy having him as a coach for the robotics program.
I wouldn't go that far. Good evening. So, as Mr. Schneider said, I am a retired teacher, and I've been with the robotics team for 8 or 10 years, but when you retire, you kind of lose track of the time, so I don't really remember how long it's been. And I could talk to you about the robotics team because I do have that lovely voice that should be reading poetry out loud. But this program really is about the kids, so it would be much more impactful if you hear from 2 of our team members, and we have apparently a slideshow running as they talk. So I would like to introduce to you Kiara Saldana and Marion Graffius. And Marion, by the way, her name has 2 A's in it, not Marion, which I always spell, and she always calls me out on. So, you know, I typo that all the time. So just pointing that out too. Kiara and Marion, please.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Kiara Saldana. Next to me is my best friend, Marion Graffius, and we are proud members of First Robotics Team 291 CIA Creativity in Action, based out in Collegiate Academy. This is going to be our 27th year of operation, and we are the only surviving First Robotics team left in Northwest Pennsylvania. At its height, there were 6 teams in the area, but funding issues and lack of support have caused all the other teams to disband. First Robotics was founded in 1989 with the intent of giving students the opportunity to learn science, technology, engineering, and math through hands-on activities. First has 3 programs: Lego League for elementary and middle school students, First Tech Challenge for high school students from small schools, and First FRC, also for high schools, but for larger schools like us. We compete at First FRC, I apologize. As recent as 8 years ago, there were 4 teams in the area: Fairview, McDowell, Harbor Creek, and our team. COVID hurt First Robotics, just like it hurt everyone. When we came back from COVID, we did not have enough members to field the team. In order to survive, we merged with Harbor Creek, but after their first year, Harbor Creek folded their team. Fairview folded their team the same year as well. We were able to field the team by ourselves, but we also had students from Fairview and Harbor Creek who wanted to still participate in First, and we have always been willing to a community team. The next year, McDowell folded, and we are now the only team in northwestern Pennsylvania. We currently have members from Harbor Creek and Wattsburg on our team, as well as a few 8th grade members from Erie. Our team is led by Mr. Jim Fleming, retired teacher from Erie School District. Our mentors consist of engineers from Wabtec and computer security specialists from Erie Insurance. In fact, 2 of our current mentors are both alumni of our team, as well as being alumni of Collegiate Academy. Most of our mentors are parents of team members, or parents of former members who continue in the role of mentor because they see the value of First Robotics. They teach us the engineering skills to design, build, and program our robots. But just as importantly, they teach us the tenets of teamwork, respect for each other and competitors, and how to be a leader in both a group and society. But the pictures that you will see possibly in a minute, or you've been seeing, are from our team at a competition last year in Cleveland, Ohio. We are a middle-of-the-road team, finishing 33rd out of 53rd teams, but we are again coming back from COVID. We were a young team starting the year with a very few veteran members, but this year our roster has expanded. We have a nice core of upperclassmen leaders, experienced underclassmen, and a fresh batch of recruits that we are trying to get excited about First Robotics. From personal perspective, I am a senior, and this is my 2nd year on the team, and Marion is also a senior, but this is her 3rd year of the team. Why I love robotics goes alongside what Mr. Schneider had to say, that robotics gave me that edge that I could pursue STEM without just being my classes. I could get that hands-on aspect. I have loved math and science, especially having a doctor for a mom and an engineering from the dad. It was right away start, I loved it. But I only could pursue it really through my classes from middle school all the way up until high school. As soon as I found out about robotics, we kind of quote it as a secret society, I went in right away and I loved it. Even though our team was small last year, I got to build not only a robot, but a community. And it was just such a wonderful experience that I will keep skills for years on in my further education. And nothing has inspired me like FIRST Robotics have. And I'm really grateful that I was able to be a part of that opportunity. And I'm assuming Marion has a very similar story to me.
Mr. Fleming recruited me to join the robotics team in my sophomore year, and I knew at that point already that I wanted to go into STEM fields. I'm going to astrophysics, but joining the team, even though it was such a small team at the time, it was really immediately such a sense of family and community, and watching it grow as we come back from COVID has been really wonderful as we gain new members, and I'm given the opportunity to both grow my own experiences but help new recruits to gain more experience because we get the practical applications of these STEM fields that could very well be applicable in our futures. And it's been like a constant for a lot of people because you can always count on that robotics team to be there every Wednesday night.
Yeah, but it's just been a wonderful community. And even though we started out small last year and the past years, we have grown so big now. And I've only gone closer to my friends and just made new ones. But I love that at Collegiate, we still have robotics, and we're really building up all of our STEM programs, and this one especially being one of our oldest. And just, it's such a wonderful aspect, and I'm really grateful that you guys took time to hear about it. Thank you. Is that all? Okay, thank you.
And thank you, robotics team, for saving our student spotlight tonight. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Polito. Any questions for Mr. Polito? May I have a motion to approve the report of the superintendent?
So move.
Moved by Ms. Cooley, second by Mr. Sharif. Any discussion? Everybody in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have reports of committees and liaisons. Do we have any reports of committees or liaisons?
Dr. Brenneman?
Ms. Devlin.
Thank you. I would just like to give a brief report on the Board Governance Committee. Of course, our main task right now is to be organize ourselves around our search for our new superintendent. So we've begun that in earnest. We had a kickoff call, the full board, not just the committee, the full board met with our new consultant, Ray & Associates, last week. Quite a long meeting, but we got a lot accomplished. And one of the first things I think it's important for the public to hear is our first step in this process will be a number of stakeholder meetings. So it's very important to us as we begin to develop the profile for who the next superintendent should be, that we hear from all of our stakeholders and get their input. So really very grateful to Ms. Irwin and the communications department for pushing out the survey that went up last week. That's for all stakeholders, but we're also holding stakeholder sessions next Wednesday. That's a week from today, Wednesday the 20th. Too importantly for the public, in the morning from 8 to 9 is a community forum. We did send some invitations to that for some community leaders, but it is also open to the public. And that will be across the street at ECAT at the former Wayne School. That's from 8 to 9. And then in the evening, parents only. It's a parent-only forum that will be held at the Martin Luther King Center beginning at 5:30. Dinner will be served there, and childcare will also be provided. So that will be, hopefully, if folks come around 5:30 and get their meal by 6 o'clock, the forum can start. So this is your opportunity that we really hope to have from all of our stakeholders to give us your input, what you're looking for, what you think we should be looking for, so that we can really begin this as an entire community and find that candidate. Of course, we know that Mr. Polito will be difficult to replace, but we are all excited for this new chapter. So all of that information is also posted on our website, again, thanks to Ms. Irwin, and we'll be continuing to report back to the public as this proceeds. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Ms. Devlin, any other reports of committees or liaisons?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Harkins.
I just want to salute Daria and thank her for positioning the board to where we are in this search process now. the extraordinary effort to find Ray Associates and connect with them and have the meeting that we did. I think we're in a very good place to, with the timing we want and with, we found it very easy to agree on most of the questions that we had to decide. So we're off to a good start, and Daria deserves a lot of praise for that. I've been a part of many of these processes, and everyone is different. The dynamics are different, the circumstances are different, but we're in a good place thanks to Daria, and I want to salute her for that.
Thank you, Mr. Harkins. Any other reports of liaisons or committees? I guess I'll give a president's report. And this is for the board as much as it is for the public. So last year we instituted a new policy that lays out a robust, transparent process for how, if and when anybody has a desire to seek renaming any of the facilities, streets, et cetera, that is under the jurisdiction of the school district. This policy 707.1 or 0.3, it's close enough, Mr. Walter. 701 point, close to it. Anyways, with this policy, which is available on our website, by the way, under board docs. And this policy lays out a very robust, transparent process so that if the circumstances where a name change is to be considered, that is done so in a transparent process, robust process that involves stakeholders, students, folks from the school, folks from the community as well. And that, even if we were to decide on forming a naming commission, and I'll get to the specifics here in a second, that doesn't mean that we're going to do it. That doesn't set it in stone. It just lays out a clear process. And that process could take months. It could take however long it needs to take. So we did have a member from the community, a group from the community, who did bring forth a presentation to us over the summer, I believe, and I'll give Mr. Harkins a chance to speak on it because he's more familiar than I am. They did provide a presentation in 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic. And what we did is we allowed them to present their pitch, which is to consider renaming Harding Elementary School after one of the alums of Harding Elementary, who has a very distinguished and nationally, if not world-renowned, history. And so they presented that to us with documents ahead of time. Then at our last committee of the whole, we listened, and this is available online for YouTube for anybody who wishes to see it. They presented their presentation to us. We were able to ask questions, et cetera. Now what happens at this point is that the board has been provided with a copy of the policy, has been provided a copy of the presentation as provided, and we will, next month, we will decide whether or not to permit the formation of a naming committee. And if that naming committee gets started, it would follow the process that are laid out in that. But Mr. Harkins, you have some more familiarity with.
Well, I just thank you for recognizing and acknowledging that proposal was made to us in the past and again last week at our work session. The essence of the thrust of it is that a neighborhood boy who grew up on Lincoln Avenue down the street from Harding School, attended Harding, Gridley, and Strong Vincent, was a Strong Vincent swimmer, summertime lifeguard under Frank Pettinato. Anyway, he went on to distinguish himself in the higher echelons of the American military, and his methods of approaching problem solving were adopted by many non-military organizations internationally. He is a local citizen who made good, and there has been interest in doing this off and on, going back to a time when the Harding PTA and a retired school board member, Harry Edwards, made a presentation years ago. I don't recall how that got distracted or unfulfilled, but COVID, as you said, scuttled this effort, which was made by a retired social studies teacher of ours. And suddenly COVID reared its head, and understandably our energy and focus was entirely distracted from any such consideration. So thank you for mentioning that they presented this, and I think at the very least, we need to have that process applied and tested and just apply it and go through it and see where it leads. So I thank you for that, Dr. Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Harkins. Any other? Mr. Boyd. It'd be after John Boyd. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. The presentation is on potentially renaming Harding Elementary to John Boyd. And we do have the information that's available in our agenda online with that material as well. And of course, if anybody wants to be considered, if we are to form the naming committee, if you want to be considered, or if you have questions, you can contact anybody on the board, or you can contact the board's secretary's office as well. Yeah. Any other questions or comments before we move past the? Okay. All right. Well, do I have a motion to approve the reports of the committees and liaisons?
So moved.
Moved by Ms.
Second.
Devlin and seconded by Ms. Graff. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have public comment. Persons desiring to speak for 5 minutes must submit their request in writing to the Secretary's office at least 1 week prior to the board meeting. All others may speak for 3 minutes. Today, we have one person who did sign up in advance, so they will be provided with 5 minutes to speak, and that's Ms. Mousson, who's speaking regarding the Royals Jubilee in February 2025. As soon as you're ready to go, the floor is yours.
Of the Erie School District. I am also a board member of the Foundation for Erie's Public Schools. As chair for the upcoming Royal Jubilee, I am excited to share with you about this event that the Foundation, in partnership with HHSDR, the architects responsible for the remodel and construction of our buildings and facilities, will be hosting on February 7th, 2025. The Royal Jubilee will be an event that no one will want to miss. We are excited to reignite the passion for our district and to reintroduce everyone to the mission of the Foundation for Erie's Public Schools. In addition, HHSDR will have the opportunity to highlight their improvements that they are making. This event will incorporate food, presentations, student showcases, and a highlight of the updates that I spoke of. We are excited to partner with many local businesses, many of whom are alum of our district, including Auburn Florist, Calamaris, and Metz. In addition to this event, we would like to bring back We Love Erie Public Schools Week, beginning February 3rd and ending on February 9th. Several local businesses have already expressed interest in helping the Erie community celebrate that week. Our schools will also have the opportunity to participate. The Royal Jubilee is unlike other events held by FEPS in the past, as there are no sponsors needed and it is not a fundraiser. We are so fortunate that HHSDR granted us with this opportunity to not only highlight the awesome improvements at our facilities and buildings, but also give the opportunity to showcase our school district and allow FEPS to become a part of everyday conversation with other nonprofits in our region. The event will take place in our beautifully renovated gym at Erie High School. It will be a ticketed event, and invitations are set to go out in mid-December. Guests will enjoy cocktails, heavy hors d'oeuvres, interactive food stations, and tours of the high school. A small portion of the event will be for presentations, and we will dance the night away with the Breeze Band. Leading up to the event, students will be asked to share their response to, "I am an EPS student, my future is bright," through either artwork or written narratives, which will be shared with guests that evening. Culminating the event, FEPS is excited to launch a scholarship fund for our students that is in its final stages of approval. Attendees of the Royal Jubilee can make donations to the new fund. We hope the excitement that started with this event will carry over and help make our scholarship fund a success. While the Jubilee will be an amazing time, it is also a chance to reconnect to alumni and remind our community that Erie's Public Schools is better than ever. Additionally, FEPS will be hosting a public open house at Erie High School on Sunday, February 9th. A newly formed committee of board members is overseeing that event. Hope to see you there. I try my best to answer any questions if there are any.
Yeah, I mean, usually we don't during this session, but given the circumstance, I'll entertain. Well,
Did you say a time frame?
Hasn't, go ahead.
5 to 10 p.m.
Any other questions for Ms. Mousson? Thank you for the presentation. Thank you and all you do. Does anybody else from the public wish to speak this evening? If so, please come to the lectern in front, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to unfinished business. We have no unfinished business. That means we'll move on to item 7 of our agenda, which is new business. I say this pretty much every meeting, but just so folks know that this is what's considered a consent agenda, meaning the majority of items that are under new business are items that we've been discussing for weeks, if not months. They take place at our committee of the whole meeting, that is generally the week prior to these regular meetings. And we usually work out any concerns or questions leading up to that. And so we generally have little discussion about the items on this agenda, and we usually take one vote, although members may separate any item at any given time for any particular reason. With that, I'll go ahead and ask if there is a motion to approve the items under new business.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harkins.
I move we adopt item 7, the new business of the school district, as well as item 8, the supplemental. And I include that because the final item in supplemental has the usual line that officiates it all. It's approval of both the new and the supplemental business. Am I correct? So I'm moving that we approve.
Thank you, Mr.
7 and 8.
Thank you, Mr. Harkins. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Nichols. Any discussion? Roll call on items 7 and 8 on the agenda, please.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Mr. Sharif?
Yes.
Ms. Amatangelo?
Yes.
Ms. Cooley?
Yes.
Ms. Devlin?
Yes.
Ms. Gillespie?
Yes.
Ms. Graff?
Yes.
Dr. Brenneman?
Yes. That takes us to items that were separated. Next, we have item 9.01, the First Amendment to lease agreement with Build Community Development Corporation for the old administrative building and the Sassafras Street parking lot as originally approved last September. Do I have a motion to approve that item? Mr. Sharif, do I have a second? Seconded by Ms. Graff. Any discussion?
Dr. Brenneman?
Ms. Devlin?
I'll need to abstain from this vote. I'm employed by Build Community Development Corporation. I will also note that this is simply an amendment because the district, as I understand it, is not ready to move out of the building. So we're extending the lease so you can all stay. You're welcome. But in any event, I will be abstaining from it from the school district perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Devlin. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Mr. Sharif?
Yes.
Ms. Amatangelo?
Yes.
Ms. Cooley?
Yes.
Ms. Devlin?
Abstain.
Ms. Gillespie?
Yes.
Ms. Graff?
Yes.
Dr. Brenneman?
Yes. Next, we have bills and payroll. The first is the approval of the schedule of bills for November. Do I have a motion to approve that item?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Cooley,
Second.
second by Ms. Gillespie. Do I have any discussion?
Dr. Brenneman?
Ms. Devlin?
I will also be abstaining from this vote because a member of my family works for a company paid by the district.
Thank you, Ms. Devlin. Any other discussion? May I have roll call on item 10.01, please?
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Mr. Sharif? Ms. Amatangelo?
Yes.
Ms. Cooley?
Yes.
Ms. Devlin?
Abstain.
Ms. Gillespie?
Yes.
Ms. Graff?
Yes.
Dr. Brenneman?
Yes. Next, we have item 10.02, approval of board authorized payrolls for October. Do I have a motion to approve that item?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Graff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gillespie. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Mr. Sharif? Ms. Amatangelo?
Yes.
Ms. Cooley?
Yes.
Ms. Devlin?
Yes.
Ms. Gillespie?
Yes.
Ms. Graff?
Yes.
Dr. Brenneman?
Yes. I do want to note that good board practice around conflicts of interest are that, especially in smaller communities, are generally unavoidable. It is not whether you avoid conflicts of interest, but how you handle conflicts of interest and do so in a transparent process. And so anytime we have a member of the board who has a conflict of interest with an item, they're not part of the conversation or debate regarding that item, and that is made with the remaining members of the board. Next, since we don't have any awards on bids, we're open to any other matter. Is there any other matter for discussion?
Mr. President?
Mr. Harkins?
Just to add on what I was commenting on the superintendent search earlier, the circumstances we're in this year, I think, make it justifiable that we're on this path that we are on, which is, in so many words, a national search. We didn't always do that, and yet I think it needs to be pointed out that it allows for local people and even current employees who are interested in pursuing the position to be given equal and adequate consideration. And so it's not, and I, for one, am not preferring an out-of-town candidate. I want to be open to all of them, and this should present us with a good selection of out-of-town candidates, and I hope we will have a robust and, interest from local people too. So that's just
Thank you.
for my own clarification.
Thank you, Mr. Harkins. Anyone else?
Dr. Brennan?
Ms. Devlin?
Can I just, I would like to comment, and John, you were so nice and complimented me, and I forgot to say some of what I should have said. I think two quick things. Yes, absolutely, we are eager for local and internal candidates, and just so everyone is aware of the timing of that, after these stakeholder sessions that I mentioned, we expect the job to go live, in essence, the posting to go up right around Thanksgiving. So for anyone who's watching or looking for that or wondering, we expect that's when the posting will go up. And again, everything will be on our website, but that's when you can expect to see the actual job application open. For the public's information, we really hope to have someone selected by February, March, in that time frame in the spring. That would give us sufficient time for a transition, and I think we're heading in the right direction there. And lastly, with the stakeholder forums, I failed to mention, the public ones I did, but we also are meeting with our administrators, with our teaching staff, with our support staff. So all of our internal stakeholders, of course, very important to us, our employees, also have separate meetings that are being arranged by some of their representation. So I think it's important for the public to note all stakeholders are being included in the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Devlin. Any other discussion? I have just a couple of points here. First, I just want to say as a parent that I love the fact that we have Parent Square, the app now, because I get all sorts of communications. Plus, it's also been great just to keep tabs on what's going on in my kids' schools, but also I feel like I know more now as far as like what's going on in the schools. And I like the fact that things such as for the superintendent search, the community session, and the parent sessions were also shared there. Tons of also a lot of great things too, and it's just been great to be able to keep tabs and connect with teachers and others, like the wellness program and others in the district. Also, I want to give a big thanks to all of our committee chairs, committee members, and also all of our liaisons for all the hard work that you've done over this past year. It's amazing the amount of things that we have accomplished in this past year. You all have put a lot of time and dedication. And we've had some really effective meetings both at the committee level and at the committee of the whole as well. So with that, again, I just want to thank you for all the time that everybody puts into this unpaid work that we have. With all of this, especially when we got some major things before us, we've had tens of millions of dollars in construction. We've had significant changes within the district on any number of things, whether it's curriculum and safety and security and other items like that. But also when it comes to the policies, which have been, the past year and a half, we've been adopting new policies for the first time in like 2 or 3 decades that have gone through from scratch. So big thanks to all of our support staff and solicitor for providing assistance with that. Also, I think the public can be assured that, and all of our constituents for the district can be assured that we're doing our due diligence and providing as much opportunity for engagement so that they can have trust in what the board is doing and what the district is doing, and they can have trust in these important issues, including with the superintendent search. Mr. Harkins is correct that Ms. Devlin is doing a fantastic job as far as guiding that process. And again, I think that we can get through this where people can, nobody can say that we didn't have a fair and open process for that. I do want to just make one last note that I've already distributed. The board, we are by our own rules. We have to pass new board rules every year. We get a first reading in December, followed by a vote in January. We've completely revamped the board rules over time. But I am adding a few things that we instituted under Ms. Devlin's presidency and under mine, and also things that we talked about at our board retreat last spring. So I'm just making suggestions for those board rule edits. Anybody can suggest edits or additions at any time. You should have a hard copy with the red line with the changes. Thank you, Mr. Wachter, for doing that. And then, so have that for you. But other than that, do I have anything else? Mr. Harkins?
I just wanted to mention, I think it's worth noting that the Erie High football team made an advancement this year in terms of its record against competition. I think they improved to 5-5, Neil. And it takes time for a program to get its feet, and Coach Henderson has worked hard, and it's starting to bear fruit. And I think my observation as a sports fan, I think their 2 games with McDowell was the most, gave McDowell the closest scores of its schedule. They played some tough teams and got beaten more. Anyway, about Erie High, they improved, and it's worth noting. And as we go into the basketball season, we've been fortunate to have hired a proven coach who has had success with us in the past. So there's reason for hope and optimism and good feeling about the coming basketball season and next football season at Erie High, which play an important part in student morale and school pride.
Thank you, Mr. Harkins. Anyone else? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Ms. Amatangelo, seconded by Ms. Cooley. We stand adjourned. Wait, actually, you know what? I know, we don't have to technically, but all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned.